Hi friends, welcome back to 5 Minute Modern, where in 5 minutes or less we learn about an important artist, artwork, or concept in the history of modern art. My name is Cindy, and today we're looking at the pioneering work of transgender artist Greer Lankton. Lankton is an artist very near and dear to my own heart. As a trans woman myself, I find her work inspiring, comforting, and very relatable. Lankton was born in 1958 in Flint, Michigan. Although assigned male at birth, she felt from a young age that she wasn't really meant to be a boy. She would tell her longtime friend, Joyce Randall Senechal, that she felt like her slight frame was a sign that she should have been born a woman. Senechal also recalled that Lankton had interests in fashion and especially in dolls from a young age, which would later prove an important inspiration for her art. Lankton graduated high school early and enrolled in the Art Institute of Chicago in 1975. Though she had not yet started her transition at the time, Lankton began keeping a sketchbook in the fall of her second year in 1977 to record her feelings around her gender. And it's this sketchbook that I really want to focus in on today. In the early pages, she detailed her struggle with asthma and allergies, but she quickly turned towards exploring her fears around transitioning. She wondered how transitioning would impact her relationships with the men in her life, what sort of discrimination she might face, and what obstacles there would be. Although gender transition wasn't totally unheard of in 1977, it was certainly less widely discussed than it is today. Lankton considered several role models, other trans women whose paths she could follow. And though she mentioned pioneers like Christine Jorgensen and Jan Morris, she focused the most attention on Candy Darling. Candy Darling was born in 1944 and tragically passed away from lymphoma at the young age of 29. But in her short life, she made a major splash. In 1967, Darling met pop icon Andy Warhol and quickly became one of his superstars, that is, the group of queer and creative folks in Warhol's orbit. Warhol found Darling to be strikingly beautiful and cast her in his 1968 film Flesh, and then gave her the lead role in his 1971 spoof Women in Revolt. Along with fellow transgender Warhol superstars like Jackie Curtis and Holly Woodlawn, Darling would break new ground for transgender representation in culture. In fact, Darling is still a major icon in the trans community today. There's a scene in Tori Peters' 2021 novel Detransition Baby, in which two characters argue over Candy Darling's legacy. For Lankton, Darling was clearly a major inspiration. Lankton quotes Darling as saying, "I've got a right to live." Clearly Lankton's acknowledgement that she had a right to live herself. A few months after beginning the sketchbook, Lankton underwent a nervous breakdown and was briefly hospitalized. Although her doctor pressed her to continue life as a man, Lankton instead chose to chart her own path forward, beginning her gender transition in 1979. As Lankton wrote in her sketchbook, "As a woman, some men will discriminate. As a sex change, many people will discriminate. But alas, does it really matter?" Lankton became a fixture of the East Village art scene in 1980s New York and began working on the dolls for which she is now famous. She was also a muse for photographers Nan Goldin and Peter Hujar, both of whom took many portraits of Lankton. And as much as I love Lankton's dolls, there's something I find really moving about her sketchbook. A facsimile was printed in 2023, and I look through my copy often. It's amazing to see that process of becoming unfold in Lankton's reflections and sketches. In a sense, I think all trans people go through a sort of creative process as they transition. Of course, the truth of our identities has always been there inside us, but we make a lot of choices as we let that inner reality out into the world. And what else would you call an outer expression of an inner truth than art? Though sadly, Lankton passed away in 1996, her legacy as a trans woman and as an artist continue. As Lankton herself wrote in her sketchbook, "I will not die, I will become." Thanks so much for joining me on this one. I hope you enjoy Greer Lankton's work as much as I do. I would love to do another video and talk more about her dolls and the rest of her artistic career, so let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.